Hi, I'm Maiva Cifuentes, and welcome to the Flying Cat Marketing interview series. I'm super excited about today's interview because I'm speaking to Dot Lung, who is the mother of social media dragons, and we're going to be talking about how she learned that maybe building a personal brand is a lot more effective than the company brand. And we're going to talk about how to engage employees, how to get their buy-in to build their own personal brands to help grow your company, and all the lessons that she's learned traveling around the world, speaking to other marketers, and basically growing her personal brand to a super powerful lead generation engine. So if you enjoy this, please give it a like, subscribe, share it with your friends and family, and enjoy. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Flying Cat Marketing interview series. Today I have Dot Lung, who is the mother of social media dragons, and we're going to be talking about personal branding and niching down, and a little bit about your Instagram course. So, Dot Lung, Dot, why don't you introduce yourself and tell us a little bit more about you?
Well, hello, Flying Cat Marketers. I love that name. What an introduction. Thank you so much for having me. My name is Dot. It's short for Dorothy, and Long means dragon in Mandarin. And I'm the mother of social media dragons, not only because of my last name and because I love Game of Thrones, but I actually have created a formula to help you grow on social media. And that formula is actually called the Dragons formula, and it's 6 elements. Dragon is actually an acronym for dialogue, relatability, authenticity, giving value, opinion, and niche. And these are the 6 most important elements that you have to master before you can actually get into sales, which is the Dragons formula.
Oh,
With lots of S's and lots of dollar bill signs. So yeah, this is basically what I teach at the universities across Spain. I teach at Universidad de Barcelona, Geneva Business School, Toulouse Business School, Yale. I speak all over the world. I teach workshops. Recently launched my Domestica course, which is all about Instagram strategy. We have over 3,500. We're probably closer to 4,000 students now that have joined me around the world to learn this methodology. So it's like just been an exciting time because I see all of like my little baby dragons like hatching, and it's like just a crazy time. Because now, at the time that we're recording this podcast, we've been 40 days in quarantine because of the coronavirus, and I literally, it was not planned, but I launched my course on the day like that we all started quarantine on like March 3rd or something, March 11th, the course launch. And it's just been a pretty wild ride. And now we see during these times how important personal branding and social media really is for your identity online and offline, and to really build that trust factor.
absolutely. So do you think that you are getting more students in your course because we're all quarantined? Do you think it had an effect on it?
You know what? That's a great question. I really hope not, but I'm sure it has an impact. In the beginning, before we launched, we're like, oh, maybe it'll have a negative, impact, because people aren't going to be wanting to spend money on, investments right now because, in times of uncertainty, people hold on to their money. But, my course is like $30 or something, very affordable. And this has been, we've been quarantined for 40 days, and these 40 days, it's been the perfect time to learn things that have always wanted time to do. So I'm thinking that it did have a positive effect. If anything, for me, it had during this time, I'm working on my second course, which is about global social media strategy. And I've been, working on building the second course for Domestica. So really excited to share all about that as well.
That's exciting. What is global social media? Just all of the channels instead of just Instagram?
Yeah, so yes, global social is taking all the different channels into consideration and seeing where you actually need to thrive and succeed, and where your customers are. But it also refers to having a strategy that is easily globalizable. Like it could work in any country with any culture, with all people from different diversity. I'm a culture addict, so this has been something that I've just been learning on my own and doing on and by through practicing social media in so many different countries and working on so many different campaigns around the world. I know that the methodology that I use, which is the Dragons formula, is something that is so universal that transcends different cultures and boundaries, because the philosophy and the technique of the principles are human nature, right? It's very in tune to psychology, and so if you practice the Dragons formula, it can really globalize your social media strategy, so it's relatable to all people from all walks from all over the world, right?
I love the Dragons formula, especially the authenticity part. Well, authenticity and relatability, which bring me to personal branding, basically, because as a personal brand, you need to show that you're a person, that you're a human, and that people like you, that they trust that you're going to be reliable and deliver on the personality that you're showing, the things that you're putting out there. So what is your let's talk about personal branding. I mean, now it's a huge thing that CEOs are trying to build their personal brand instead of trying to build their company's brand, or maybe not instead, but definitely putting a lot of focus on their personal brand. How can a CEO start doing this? Somebody who has no understanding of branding, or if they're a tech person, an engineer, how can they start with personal branding?
Well, personal branding is simply your reputation. So whether you like it or not, you have a personal brand, and it's up to you to manicure it or let the internet make what it wants out of it. So that's something I've since Facebook launched in like 2004. I just always knew that in the future, your digital footprint is going to be so important. People are going to completely just judge you by what your profile looks like on Facebook or on Tinder, on LinkedIn. You just, sorry about that. I had like a phone call come in.
It's all good.
So,
I was like, where should go?
yeah,
Okay.
anywhere that you exist or don't exist online, you are leaving your digital footprint, and you are leaving, um, you know, you're leaving an impression. And personal branding is the first impression that you have when you're meeting somebody digitally, right? Or even offline. If I hear like my girlfriend's like dating some new guy, you bet I'm like Googling his ass, right? So like my friend, she's like starting to date this new guy. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna Google him. And he like had like such a poor website and a poor LinkedIn profile. I'm like, no, you are not dating this guy. Like, no, I don't care. Well, he's the CEO. Sorry, there's someone calling me. It's like, sorry about that. I'm sure you can edit that out, hopefully, or
Yeah,
not.
I think so.
Um, and so for me, I really value my personal brand, but also like people that take care of their image online, because it is a reflection of how you take care of yourself in real life, right? So like I said, personal branding is your reputation, and it's what people say about you when you're not in the room. And it's up to you to actually craft, if you want to take care of your personal brand, to craft the public perception about what people think about you. And that might be, he's an amazing CEO. He's very reputable. He's worked with, has scaled many companies. Like, what are people actually saying about you as a brand or as you as a person? That's personal branding. So to build a good personal brand, you need to have an excellent reputation, right? And share the stuff that you're killing it at. Share all of your positive case studies. Share all of the positive feedback that you're getting with people you're working with, like those LinkedIn recommendations are one of the first things I look at when I'm choosing to collaborate with someone or not. And you can mold the public perception if you use social media in a smart way. And that's kind of what you and I do, right? We're master marketing crafters that craft what brands look like in the public. So, in conclusion, if you're looking to start a personal brand, it's really good to kind of look at, how you're going to be using it and what the purpose is for it. And for me, your personal brand is something that you can take everywhere in the world that you go. So was living in Barcelona. I've been building my personal brand, putting my work online since, for the last 8 years. And so the minute that I moved to Tel Aviv, where I have zero friends, I don't speak the language, I don't know anything, I was already, invited to speak at different conferences. I'm already invited by the biggest Fortune 500 companies and the biggest startups to do consulting for them because I was able to bring and leverage my personal brand into any new place that I go. So it's been extremely profitable to have a personal brand. It's how I'm able to work with my dream clients. And it's how I've really built my business just on personal branding alone because I never had a website. I never had like a company. I did try to start a video company that completely failed, not because, of me. Well, obviously it is because of me, but, I had somebody that, let's say, didn't have a good personal brand on my team. And I decided that I didn't really want to work with somebody that didn't also have a, good personal brand, AKA reputation. So yeah, at the end, after I actually had started this video company and realized that if I invested a lot into building this company and did all of the marketing and we were killing it, like profitability wise. We launched a 360 video company when 360 video first came out. Did plenty of amazing campaigns in 360 when nobody else was doing it. I built a good reputation in working with, cutting edge technology and innovative social media campaigns. So that was good. But at the end of the day, I realized that I was putting so much effort in building like the company brand when I could use that same energy and build my personal brand. And when I made this switch from, putting my effort in growing, the Instagram account for my video company and switch it to my personal brand, that's when everything really shifted for me. And that's when I started getting, global speaking engagements and traveling around the world because I was building my own hype. I was building my own social media strategy finally. Usually I was working on building my companies or other companies. So for me, it was a really good investment and I don't regret it. And I always advise, CEOs and I advise leaders to really invest in personal branding because it can take you everywhere in the world that you want to go.
So what about companies who they're building their personal brand? Maybe it's a consultancy company, for example, but then it turns out that since you've built your personal brand so strong that people only want to work specifically with you. And that makes it kind of not scalable because then you have to be doing all of these things, whereas you have a great team that actually are doing the work. How do you communicate that? It's your personal brand, but it's actually the company that's delivering this work.
That's totally fine. I think the point of the personal brand is that it's a lead generation tool for your business. So, for example, I get so many leads that come through my LinkedIn, through my social media, and like I either have to, refer them out, or if I can take on the project, I hire freelancers and collaborators to work with. The point of the personal brand is that it's a lead generation tool, and you're able to have these human to human connections, because people are more gravitated to have trust and build relationships with a person than with a logo, or like, with a company. Like, I'm not going to go talk to Coca-Cola, or I don't, maybe that's a bad example, but I'd rather, talk to a person when I'm thinking about purchasing something, right? Then, or if I need consulting, you're consulting with a person, not with a company. So it's this whole idea of human to human marketing and human to human engagement, instead of B2B now. And even when you are working in B2B, it's two people doing business together. So at the end of the day, no matter what industry you're in, the importance of building relationships and the importance of opening up dialogue happens with in between human beings, not with companies. So that's what works in the digital age, because we are, the technology is It's technology. It's like, the more that we can humanize technology through personal branding, the more we're going to be able to connect with more people around the world, or from different industries. So the more you can actually humanize the brand, or humanize your personal brand, or humanize the technology, that's going to make your essence and your branding online more approachable and friendlier and more opening for other people to engage with.
Yeah, I love that. I also agree entirely. And I think what I really like is seeing some companies who it's not just the CEO who's building the personal brand, but it's everybody in the company.
That's the best.
Yeah,
Ultimate.
that's really the best. And how do you ever advise companies on how to get employee buy-in, on how to get people to get encouraged to build their personal brand for the benefit of the company?
Sure. I think it comes down to, having the brand mission and like the vision really clear with the team, and making them feel like a part of it, so that they want to share your gospel, right? They want to advocate your company's mission on behalf of, oh, my sushi's here, on behalf of themselves, because they are so aligned with the company's, the brand values, and the mission. So I'm actually working now with a massive corporate company in Barcelona that's in this digital transformation, and they had social media. It was very corporate. Okay, it was like stock images of employees, and I'm like, why didn't you just use your real employees photo? Like, I don't know, like, it just didn't make any sense. It was like not social. It was so fake. I'm like, people aren't, like, the new generation sees right through this stuff. They're not going to buy your insurance with the insurance company. um, if they, when anyone's buying insurance already, it's like already gross and corporate, and like, you don't, it's not, you know, the more humanized and more friendly you can make insurance, the better, right? And they were doing it. They had everything completely backwards. Everything on their Instagram was like, you know, a beautiful stock image and very advertising, like, perfect graphic design. And if you're going to sell insurance to millennials, you need to speak their language. Okay. So speaking their language might mean, putting out unedited, like, low production TikTok videos or stories. And that's okay, as long as you're using their language to speak to them so that you can get their buy-in. So I'm digressing because you're asking me about how to get, like, employees and team members involved in the social media. And I think it really happens from within, and helping them learn how they can build their personal brands through uh, advocacy of the company that they're working with, right?
Yeah.
And I think it's important, as as larger companies, that when you have like employees, you need to be able to help support them grow, and like support them grow in their career. And this doesn't mean necessarily mean staying at your company their whole life, and that's like a reality, especially like millennials. We're changing jobs like every other year. um, but the fact is, we're really good at using social media. So if you can use us to advocate your business through our LinkedIn, like, I see that as a positive for the brand, because if I see like my friends on LinkedIn like promoting the company that they're working at, I really believe they must have such a good corporate culture inside that they're willing to like, that they want to talk about it. And I think that's an amazing thing. So if you can get your staff to post and talk about in a genuine way, okay, not in like a fake inauthentic way, but in a genuine, transparent way, it does amazing things in terms of the brand, public brand perception, because there's so much transparency, and that's what we need more of on social media, is this transparency, the honesty, the authenticity. The more transparent and the more honest your business is, the more it will succeed in terms of digital and social media marketing. And that's just where the trend is going, because we're so thirsty for that. We have fake news all day long, and we have Photoshop and all of this fake stuff. What we were craving is the realness.
So it actually goes, it's not just encourage your employees to post a couple times on LinkedIn. You actually have to fix it at the source. If your company culture is off, if it's nasty, if it doesn't motivate people to want to work there, no matter what you tell them about posting, it's not going to make a difference, right?
Never gonna work.
If you're a crappy person and you're trying to build your personal brand, people are going to see right through it as well, because you can't say, "Oh,
You
I'm
can't
being
fake
authentic." Yeah, you can't fake it.
You can't fake it till you make it. And you brought up a great point. It starts with the culture, because when you have good culture, people want to share about it organically. They want to tell everyone about it when something's great. Like the I mean, I know many of my friends work at Google and Facebook, and they have great company culture, so they want to share about all the stuff that they're doing, and they have done an amazing job with their culture, and many other startups as well. So it is really all about culture, and that's what branding is. Branding is culture, and branding is an experience that your people, your team experiences, and then also the people that are experiencing your product or your service. It's everything that they can feel. Okay, so um, that's what social media. The best thing you can do on social media is branding.
Yeah, I think it's interesting that we were talking about getting employees buying into your brand, and then later you said, I digressed. You were talking about employees getting involved in your social media. And I'm like, okay, is it the same thing? Is it how are content, social media content, and personal branding or company branding aligned?
For me, personal brand and business branding is one and the same thing, because when I am building which I do, I build brands for startups, and I build personal brand. We go through the same process, very similar processes. Okay. And that is really, you know, figuring out what your personal values are, or your business values. Like, what is the mission and vision here, so that we can really get to the heart of why you exist. Okay. Like, what is your purpose? And that is what brands, really good brands, are amazing at showing, not telling people what their purpose is. And they make us feel an emotion. They evoke emotion, and that's the power of branding. It's storytelling through now digital mediums. Before it was through TV commercials, but now it's through social media. It's the same thing. We're just consuming it in a different format. So the best brands are the brands that are going to be able to use the technology or use the medium that is trending right now, which happens to be social media, and make us feel an emotion through storytelling. And this is the relatability factor, right? The reason why we need to be brands that evoke emotion is because when we evoke emotion, that makes us human. That makes people relate to us. And this is all the Dragon's formula, right? The R is for relatability. The more relatability you have with your target audience or your customers, the more they will like you and trust you and want to join your brand and be around you because you can relate to them. You're relatable. And this is why personal brands, it's so fascinating to see how fast you can grow a personal brand now with digital media, because humans are humans are good at relating to other humans. Brands, on the other hand, corporate brands, it's going to be a little bit challenging, right? So that's why you can actually scale your personal brand a lot faster and reach a lot more people than a corporate brand can, unless you have billions of dollars in marketing like Apple or Netflix. They're huge brands and they have a lot of capital behind that to spread their word. But if you are a startup, or if you have a low marketing budget or a zero marketing budget, I would recommend definitely utilizing your personal brand, because it's going to be hard to do two at a time. Many people are always asking me, oh, which Instagram should I grow? Should I grow my company one or my personal one? And I had the same freaking problem. And then I went from personal to building my company, and then now back to personal, because I, did all the tests. I'm testing and practicing all the time. And it's just so much easier to scale your personal brand than a business account. Especially if you have limited resources.
Yeah. What would you say? So if you have a personal brand already, let's say Instagram, for example, or Facebook, but it's a little too personal, would you just start over from scratch and create a new personal brand? I mean, personal account?
You totally can. You can also totally just archive all of your posts on Instagram, or archive all your posts and then start fresh, and still keep those followers as well. But tune them into different type of content, and they might unfollow, and that's totally fine. You don't need people to follow you that don't engage in your content. You only need people to follow you that engage with your content, because that's what makes your content reach more people and do better in the algorithm.
Yeah.
So I was talking to my friend the other day who grew like to 10,000 followers in 6 months organically. And he said one of the first things he did when he took Instagram seriously was he deleted all his friends and family, because his friends and family were not going to be his client or customer. That's not who he wants engaging, with his business content from his personal brand. Okay. So as a personal brand, a personal brand is a business. So you have to treat these social media channels like as a business. And if your parents or your sister, like, they're not going to buy from you, you don't need them as a follower. You're just wasting all your nurturing content on them, when you can be delivering it to somebody that is interested in and that will buy your services. So that was an interesting insight.
No, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, no, it was just an interesting insight. So that reminded me that I need to go into my own account and remove dead followers and remove spam accounts and really clean up your following, because you will succeed much better and reach more people by actually removing people from your list. And this is how it's just how the algorithm works, and how viral content spreads is through like the first 5% of your community. If it does well, then they'll spread to the next 10 and the next 20. But if it doesn't pass that initial threshold, it's never gonna go.
That's an interesting point. So tell us about your course. Who is it for? What kind of people would benefit from learning the Dragon's formula from you?
So if you are totally like lost in the dark about social media and how to actually create social media content for Instagram or for social media, the Dragons formula is something that is a really nice guide for you to figure out what type of content you should be creating. And the course was, it's a beginner course for people that have under 10,000 followers. So if you have under 10,000 followers, this will be a really useful course for you. If you're an entrepreneur, if you're, if you have a business as well, it really crosses over because social media content is the universal if it's relatable, right? So I teach how to create relatable content through storytelling. And we have 3,600 people today enrolled in the course, and many of them are actually social media managers themselves. There's some experts in the class, and even some of the more seasoned people in social media that have taken the course said that it was still really useful for them and it was really helpful because the way that I'm teaching it is a totally different approach. It is not like a conventional way, apparently, of how I'm teaching this stuff. So so it made me really happy to hear that, even some experts that, that have been doing social media just as long as me, really like the format that I delivered the course in, and it was very valuable. And I honestly think that if everybody followed the Dragons formula, we would have a lot more of a positive and engaging community, and we can keep social media a positive, safe place for everybody to be.
Amazing. And this course is only for Instagram, right? You said later you're going to be launching one for.
So the strategy that I teach is for Instagram, like all of the different hacks and so forth is for Instagram, but the formula it's universal. You can use it in your content creation process. I'm now working on a class because this course did so well. They want a class that covers all the other channels as well. So it'll be more of like, okay, what you need to be doing on Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, and all that stuff. But mainly really how to create content at the end of the day for each of the platforms, because I think that's where people get lost because there's so many different formats and type of content, and yeah, it gets confusing. So I try to make things as easy as possible and only teach you the things that you need to be doing, because you don't need to be, doing things that aren't benefiting your business or wasting your time. And so I try to keep everything short and concise and to the point.
Do you think that every kind of entrepreneur could benefit from being on Instagram?
It depends. I mean, Instagram is the best for branding. So if you want to, if you're a personal brand that's comfortable with sharing your life and your business on Instagram, like why not? A lot of amazing entrepreneurs are on Instagram, and they are monetizing it. So yes, I mean, if you want to make money, you should be on Instagram, right? It's another revenue stream, and you can really build your influence through the platform and on LinkedIn also.
Yeah, LinkedIn. I love LinkedIn. LinkedIn is such a powerful platform. Well, thank you so much. If people want to connect with you, where should they?
So I have a website. It's my name, dotlung.com, and all my contact information is there. I have all social media channels at .lung. My favorite channel is Instagram. I answer all of my direct messages there. So feel free to chat with me. You can check out my course. You can check out what I'm doing on my Facebook, LinkedIn. I'm everywhere. So don't be shy. Come say hi.
All right, if you guys want to connect with Lung, you know where to find her. Thank you so much for joining me on this call, on this interview, and be in touch. Thanks for listening to this episode of the Flying Cat Marketing Series. If you enjoyed this interview, please give it a like, share it with your friends and colleagues, and subscribe to this channel. Stay tuned because next week I'll be interviewing another leader in the SaaS and startup world talking about their challenges and achievements. See you there.